Another story. This one's a weird story. The return of Zuckerbucks. God, I thought we buried this story, but not so. Joining us now is Mollie Hemingway, editor-in-chief of The Federalist, Fox News contributor, Ned Ryun, CEO of American Majority. Mollie, I mean, look, you were the one who pulled the plug on Zuckerbucks in the first place, correctly so. Now I'm reading that this committee, what's it called, the Center for Tech and Civic Life, I don't know how much money they have. Maybe you can report on it. Zuckerbucks is back, and my concern is maybe yours and Ned's. Is the Trump Vance team, are they concerned also? Are they doing something about it, Mollie Hemingway?
Yeah, it's a very good question. A lot of people were excited when they heard that Mark Zuckerberg had decided not to finance this private takeover of government election offices like he did in 2020. But the two main groups he funded, which were Center for Tech and Civic Life and the Center for Election Innovation and Research, they kept going, and they're financed by other left-wing billionaires to still engage in this takeover of government election offices, primarily in the blue areas of swing states, in order to run these massive get-out-the-vote operations to help Democrats.
Is this legal, just in short, is this legal in your judgment?
It has not been properly litigated, so it's an open question about how, and also different states have different rules on what to do here. But there is no question that they should be looked into because of how this privileges left-wing voting or Democrat voting. And I just want to point out, too, it's not just these two left-wing groups, it's other groups as well, but also the Biden-Harris administration asked federal agencies to likewise get involved in targeting Democrat subgroups for voting.
And that is probably illegal, violating the Hatch Act. Ned Ryun, you're listening to my... what do you think about this story? Because, look, so they're going to do what they're going to do, all right? Democratic criminals are going to go and do whatever they're going to do. The question we have is, what is the Republican defense? Because the stakes are very high. What do you think, Ned?
Well, they better be litigating it already. I will say this, Larry, really quick. You asked, is this illegal? I know for a fact if Ned Ryun of American Majority had attempted to do what they did in 2020, I probably wouldn't be talking to you because I would be in jail, running the nonprofit money into battleground states, into blue counties to boost the blue vote by sometimes a factor of 10 to 1. And this is the one thing that I think is a total disgrace in this country, that these folks at Center for Tech and Civic Life, all the Zuckbucks that went in, were not actually pursued and litigated correctly because they're on the proper side of many who reside at the DOJ and the state AGs and the DAs. Whereas if a conservative had done that, I for sure would have faced severe consequences. My hope is that I know there is legal action being taken. The bright side of this, Larry, is that 28 states have outlawed Zuckbucks after the 2020 election. And I think the silver lining with what I saw in these grants, they put about $419 million into these battleground states in 2020. The grant levels I saw in this one were about $2.5 million spread across 20 states. So not as significant, but I would echo what Mollie said. If people want to have faith in their elections, the last thing we should be seeing is leftist groups trying to take over how our elections are conducted.
Mollie, real quick, story in the Washington Examiner today. Kamala Harris and her husband both donated to this group, the Legal Aid DC something or other, that stands for defunding the police. Is that story accurate, and what do you think it means?
Yeah, absolutely. We have this information that she and her husband are supporters of this group. It's not surprising at all because in 2020, when she was running for president, she was a supporter of defund the police. She famously posted that tweet asking people to help bail out the rioters in Minneapolis who were burning that city to the ground. And she just chose as her VP someone who fully embraces that dangerous and deadly and damaging ideology, which cost billions of dollars in damage to America. And just that's the financial cost. It was actually just very bad for the body politic as well. So this is a good example of where she and her VP are aligned on left-wing policy. A lot of Americans don't like that left-wing policy and what it's done to our cities, what it's done to our police forces. And it goes with everything else, too, the economy, the border, foreign policy, et cetera.
And Ned Ryun, last 30 seconds. You shedding any tears? Congresswoman Cori Bush of St. Louis was defeated. She's the second quartet member to be defeated in primaries this year. 20 seconds, Ned. Give it hell.
I think it's a positive sign that the squad continues to be diminished. But, Larry, I don't think this is a rejection of leftist, I would say neo-Marxist policies. They have two neo-Marxists with Kamala Harris and Tim Walz at the top of the ticket. And I don't think we could not have a clear, starker choice coming into the fall. It's literally neo-Marxism versus freedom. And I hope the American people choose wisely.
All right. Mollie Hemingway, thank you. Ned Ryun, we appreciate it very much.